Adam, good morning. Happy Tuesday, my man. Welcome back.
What's up, Ryan? How are you?
I'm doing really good. I had a great 3-day weekend. I took a short via some XPS calls last week. And yesterday, I spent the entire day just kind of selling those calls out. So pretty good way to start the week here. I am excited because we've got some pretty big earnings reports on deck this week, and I wanted to check in with you and see if there are any trades that you might have brewing for any of these stocks.
Yeah, nice to be here with you. I was away too in Vegas in Arizona.
Ooh.
Just got back. I don't trade into earnings. Like I'll trade post earnings if something's moving. I had a really good play. I think I told you about it on Carnival Cruise Line. Like they had earnings like a month ago and got hit hard in the morning. And if you see that pivot, like an earnings reversal trade in the morning where it's either up big and then goes down or down big and then goes up. So I caught the dip and ran up a couple points. That was a great trading day. But so anything I could catch after earnings, but like even if the CEO of a company told me what his earnings were going to be, I wouldn't know if the stock was going to be up or down. So I feel like there's no edge into earnings.
Okay, so you wait for the event to get past and then kind of trade the action. Well, I mean, Tesla reports tonight. That should be kind of a monster, right? I expect that to be busy tomorrow. Maybe there will be a trade set up on that tomorrow.
Yeah, afterwards it will definitely make moves. That one was probably like, that's like showing up at like a rodeo and being like, oh, the one that's killing everybody over there, the wildest ride. Yeah, I'm gonna go on that. like trying to trade Tesla post. There's probably gonna be so many fake outs. It's good. It's definitely gonna move if you call it right. I'm like, I have with the movement we've had in the market, I'm just kind of locked in on what I watch, what I'm trading every day, and I don't have any bandwidth for anything else. I did catch the Trump 90-day pause announcement. I have a funny story about that.
Okay. I actually do want to hear that. But really quick here, join Adam Mesh and Tom Sosnoff for an exclusive webinar event on April 24th at 4:30. Couple of things real quick. I'd love to hear what that webinar is about. Secondly, how is Tom in person? He seems awesome. He seems like this is the type of guy that you definitely want to have a beer with and talk markets with. I've been watching him on like, Tasty Trade and any of the little clips that I can get for a number of years. How is he in person? And then, what do you got coming up?
So, interviewing Tom Thursday. We do it once a month for the last 5 years. He's a man's man. Like we went out to dinner and he had his team there and he literally said, I've never seen this move before. We'll take one of everything on the menu. And they weren't like 4 things. There were like 30 things. And he just ordered it all, which was, I thought, I had never seen anyone do that before. But in terms of trading, I learned more about options trading from him than anyone else. He just loves it. He's in it. He's kind of like, and we never, kind of like me and you, there's never a pre-call. We just come on and we talk, and it's just very real and transparent, and that's what people like. But he studies everything, like the optimal time to put on a trade, the optimal time to roll a trade, take it off, everything. Just like the best options trader I know.
Yeah, he is really incredible. Brett here from the chat saying Tom is great. He answered several emails from me. Pretty
very
awesome.
Responsive.
I'm a huge proponent of anyone that is able to do that. I got to where I was at having people being gracious with their time and helping me. So I'm a huge proponent of paying that forward. And when I see others do that, I absolutely want to promote that. Brett, that's awesome to hear. And Adam, that's that menu, that one of everything on the menu. So I've heard of that. I've heard myths of that, but I've never actually seen it myself. Pretty cool that you got to see that in person.
Yeah. But in terms of trade, I mean, he sold 2 companies. The second one they sold to IG Group for $1 billion. So with everything he's developed, he's very successful, but he's in it for the love of the game. And I asked him if anyone manages his money, because he has a lot of it. And he said, no, it's all him, which is crazy, because you as a trader, you know how we are, like, prone to everyday action. I don't trust myself to manage all my money. Like, too much of a gunslinger.
I am in the same way. When I first started, when I didn't have hardly anything and I just wanted to control everything, and eventually I got to a spot where I was like, no, we better let this professional handle this chunk too. That way I don't have to think about it and stress over it. I got enough stress as it is. So that's pretty impressive. He manages a huge amount of money on his own. Not surprised though. Guy's super talented.
Yeah. So the 90-day pause, I was trading. I was waiting for it. Like I had the vacation last week and I was hoping that you knew something was going to happen. Yeah. And I was like, I literally wasn't getting up to get a drink. I was all day in front of my computer because we had that fake out move to where they had the fake 90-day pause. And then a couple days later, the real one. And I was just like, this is just going to be a moment, you know? And so on that day, I was having one of my worst days of the year. I can't even remember why now. Maybe I was just trying to buy dips, but I was down 17,000 intraday, and that's just day trading. That's not positions. Well, I came in with some positions, but whatever. And I was supposed to do an interview. I don't do a lot. I do you guys, and I was doing an interview with T3. But I moved it from 1 to 115 because there was a bond auction at 1, and I thought it might move the market because the bond markets were getting spooked. Anyhow, I had 20 calls in the queues that were 10 points out of the money for $1 that expired that day. And I literally just wanted to get up to like wash my hands, throw water on my face before the interview. But I was so scared of missing anything. I just bought 80 IWM calls for 75 cents, 2 points out of the money. Because I just wanted to be holding stock at all times. I got up, I came back, I sat down, the interview screen was up, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And I never had this before. My P&L was just flashing. And the bid asks were motionless, like they were stuck in the box. And I saw my whole screen frozen, and the down 17 said down 5, then it said up 2, up 5, up 17, up 25, up 38, up 48. And I realized, and then they came on, they're like, we've just gotten word that they're going to pause tariffs for 90 days. And I'm like, oh my God. But I couldn't even see anything. And by the way, the whole thing was on camera. Like the whole interview, like, and people were chatting in, like, what is this guy on? Like I was like, drugs, but I was like, wait, what? So like in real time in front of everyone, I was like processing everything. It's crazy.
That is wild. And let me say, that's not easy to do, is it? Right? Not easy to process all of that stuff in real time, especially when you're live in front of people. Awesome though. Awesome trade on that. One of the things that I hit recently was TSLL. I hit the levered Tesla on the report that Elon Musk was going to move away from Doge. Tesla popped that day. TSLL just in a heartbeat. There was a trade there. We used options to do that. Peeled half of them off. Ended up having to close or stop out of the rest the next day as there was no carry through.
So that trades that doesn't pay a dividend, right? That just trades at 2 times Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just the levered Tesla ETF, but it's fun. That one's pretty good. Okay, so awesome trade there. That's a pretty good turnaround on your worst day there. Ryan here from the chat said, saying that was a bad day for me too. Ryan, I hope it turned around for you on that day. Let me ask you, is there anything that you're kind of stalking or watching or waiting for right now?
I trade Bitto a lot. I've talked about that on the show. It's so that's one that tracks Bitcoin, but it also pays a monthly dividend of around $1. It varies, but it's a good dividend. And Bitcoin has started to perform well with everything else going on. So it caught a bid yesterday, and it's following through today. So that just as a hold has been doing well for me. I have some speculative plays on that I'm interested in. See how this one does today. I don't know why. Like I get like besides the big names I'm talking about. Like I'm like SoFi is a stock I trade. I'm CoreWeave. I have an Iron Condor on after post IPO. Uber had the negative news yesterday, but it's not that negative. They said that they were like subscription. You saw what they said with Uber yesterday. How they were like,
and then there's also we also had Uber news here about possibly merging with Hertz. Ackman, of course, took a stake in Hertz, so that is also floating around out there.
Oh my God. I was hiking in Arizona, and there's this guy probably in his, I don't know, 70s, and he's like walking through the desert, and he's talking to his wife, and he like on his phone, and he's like, I just made 24 grand. And I knew he was like a trader, because like it was like, he goes, I just made 24 grand in 4 minutes. And so I just walked over to him like, what are you trading? And he's like, Hertz. He's like, there's big Bill Ackman rumor. He's like, I just bought a bunch, and he goes, it went up 50 cents and I sold it. And I was just laughing, like, because that's the only place you're going to make that kind of money in 4 minutes is the market. So
I love how as soon as you just kind of put the pieces together there real quick. And by the way, so with CoreWeave here, I've got it up on screen here, but the other thing to keep in mind here at CoreWeave, this is fresh as of this morning, 2 new initiations on CoreWeave. One here from Barclays, price target of 48. Another here from JP Morgan, price target of 43. Both of those are overweight ratings. So CoreWeave here up 2.61% in the pre-market, getting a bit of a boost here today. This actually extended a little bit up to 3.3%.
So I think that they were down yesterday on the news that people were slowing in their data centers.
Yep.
And that is directly tied into CoreWeave. So it made me a little bit nervous. But, I feel like with IPOs, once the options become available, maybe we have a chance for edge, because there's people aren't comfortable with the price. So the premiums are better. So I did like a 35, 27.50 bull put spread. And then I'd started with a 57.50, whatever it was, 65. I kept pulling that one down. So now it's 45 by 52.50. But like, if it stays in between 35 and 45 by May 16th, then I do really well.
Okay.
Those are the kind of like professional trades I make, where it's like, I don't have to watch it every day. Yesterday, I started to pay attention a little bit because it was below 35 for a little bit. And then one teeny one that is fun is Microvast. They make the batteries, MVST.
Yep.
And I wrote down on my screen, don't sell this. Like, I liked everything about the story, is like, I thought I should hold it. And at one point, I just needed buying power or something, and I sold it. I was like every once in a while, if I get flustered, I clean off my screen.
Sure.
But I'm back in it, and yesterday it was strong all day, no news, good volume, and I feel like in a regular market today, it's gonna catch a bit and probably shoot for 230, whatever.
Okay, that pretty awesome here. Sure, look, let me try and zoom in here and get a little bit more.
I know in the segment you do after mine, you're looking for stocks like this too. I always stay on and watch, and.
Absolutely. But you know what? If you want to hit them a little bit early, we can do that too. MVST here. I don't think this is going to be on the movers list. No, down 1.44% here. But you bring up a really good point. I do have the intraday high yesterday at 208, that 210 after hours high. I think if that breaks here today, you could have some wild action here in MVST. This stock's no stranger to it. We've seen it before. We actually traded this one before pretty recently.
It was just kind of setting up, and I like. It was on my watchers listed, like it was towards the bottom of the list, but I know the name, and I was like, so I started like paying attention.
So, okay. MVST, again, here real quick. Join Adam Mesh and Tom Sosnoff for an exclusive webinar event April 24th at 4:30. That should be a hoot. I did have a question here for you from the chat. Jonathan here is asking, why BITO instead of IBIT? So I know we've kind of talked about this before, but any answer to this one?
I want to make sure my answer is correct. So I'm just going to look at one thing real quick.
Sure.
So BITO, I love the dividend. It pays every month, the dollar dividend. So I don't think IBIT does that too.
No, IBIT's just a direct track of the Bitcoin price.
So that's what it is. Yeah, I was just making sure. I was just making sure IBIT didn't do it. So you get like a dollar dividend every month that you're holding it. So that's something where I'm holding the stock. I bought more when Bitcoin started to separate from the market a little bit. Had been following the market, but it was for that monthly dividend.
BitO is contracts. IBIT is Bitcoin directly. You know, you brought up Bitcoin. I hadn't got to this yet. I did want to mention this at some point today, but I might as well cover it while you're here since we're talking about Bitcoin. One of the things that I said yesterday was notable here is that Bitcoin really seems to have started to decouple from the market. At least it looked like that yesterday. We were selling off in the market right out of the open, and Bitcoin was doing the opposite. It actually traded up here. If we're looking at the chart, my first thought here was, well, let's see where we're at here on the chart. We do have a potential inverse head and shoulders. We'll see if that forms. I'm just kind of putting the template out there. We've recently had a death cross. However, we took out this trend line, this downtrend line on the top section, and we've actually traded into this support area that I have marked off between 85,000 and 90,000. So to me, now we're testing the 200-day. It'd be interesting if we can get a couple of closes above the 200-day and maybe buck this trend. And I brought this to the happy hour group yesterday, and we talked about something that really wasn't on my radar, and I want to make sure I get this correct here. We have a gentleman that is headquartered in Asia, and he follows all this stuff too. He said Chinese citizens are trying to circumvent currency controls that would limit money being sent out of the country, and they're doing that by using crypto. And this is likely why Bitcoin saw such a rise today. So that wasn't on my radar at all. That's a very interesting kind of thing to think about here. Just a way, using Bitcoin as a way to get around currency controls. I wonder if that trade will continue here. So wanted to bring that here to the group. Very, very interesting. Do you have any trade on Bitcoin that you're aside from the ETFs, are you looking to trade this at all?
So what I like about BitO versus Bitcoin or anything else is I think that the current administration is pro Bitcoin. I know that his children are. And so I just needed to stay in that $70,000 to $110,000 range for the next 4 years. And if I could get a monthly dividend of $1, right? And then so BitO just stays in business. $1 12 times a year is 12 times 4 is 48, right? The current cost of BitO is 19. So this could be something that I own for free, collect dividends in, and if the price wants to go higher, great. But I don't want to chase Bitcoin. I feel like, sure, maybe it will be a lot higher, but this is kind of like selling a put. But instead of collecting that dividend, I just want it to be in business and kind of hang around like a currency, and I get paid. That's the bet I want to make. I don't want to speculate on a bigger move up. And also, like, on some of the days we've been seeing, yesterday was a bad day. We had some other bad days. Like, when everything starts to sell off and you feel like the world's ending, it's hard for me to be confident that Bitcoin is going to stay at 80,000 versus 70, 60, or 50. I have no range of value. And if people need money, they have margin calls, whatever the case. Like, at some point, if something like ever happened to MSTR, right? I mean, like, that one stock could probably, crater Bitcoin. Like, if something happened to that stock, like imagine, like, I'm not saying anything will, but it's very related. Like, any singular event could really move Bitcoin. So I'm just betting on it to stay where it is versus chasing it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. By the way, MicroStrategy here now owns 538,200 Bitcoin. That is 2.563% of the total outstanding coins. So to your point here about if something happens to MicroStrategy, I mean, this is definitely going to be tied to Bitcoin. We had Michael Saylor. We had a piece of news, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, about how he's not worried at all because the collateral pledged is not Bitcoin related at all. So even if Bitcoin goes to zero, he's going to be okay there on MicroStrategy. I don't want that to happen. Let's not find out if that's the case. But we'll see. We'll see here on MicroStrategy. Okay. Adam, anything else? There were really good stuff here today.
I was just looking at the questions in your box. I like, I always enjoy connecting with you. And I think, last thing was you had asked me about quantum stocks last time, and I said not to chase them in the rally. And I think that was good advice. I watched to make sure I was right. And they didn't move. Like, on that day with the 90-day pause, they didn't go like the rest of the stock. So it was a good call to, like, leave that alone for now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let some of this come out. In fact, they haven't gone since then either. So I do think there will be another move in these, but that move is not now. We'll have this when they start to kick up again. We'll talk about them again, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Thursday session with Tom would be great. There's nothing for sale. No, it's just pure options education and strategy for an hour. So love for everyone to register, come on and listen to a great conversation at 4:30 Eastern on April 24th. Thanks.
Totally support that. Adam's a great guy. Tom's incredible. The QR code is on the screen. The link is in the chat. Folks, be sure to check that out. Adam, thanks so much for your time. As always, looking forward to catching up with you the next time you're on. We'll find some more stuff to trade. All right?